I'm here at the Cambridge Folk Festival 2013 and I am super excited to be sat next to the one and only KT Tunstall. KT, how are you feeling about tonight's performance? I know you've performed here at the Cambridge Folk Festival before. How are you feeling about tonight?
It's really nice to be back. I've played twice. It was 2005 the last time I played. I think we worked out.
Yep.
And that was right at the start of my public career. So the album had come out at the end of Out of the Telescope came out at the end of 2004. So it was really the first festival I did, one of the first festivals I did, and I had such a good time. And the Proclaimers headlined that year as well, and they were amazing. And it's just a great vibe. It's really, I think, particularly this festival, people are very open to seeing stuff that they've never seen before. And so it's also a very nice environment for, as an artist, to play a new album, to play some new songs that people haven't heard. I think people are in a very open state of mind.
And this is sort of like the post-performance from Jules Holland, which really cemented, you know, your kind of your state. And so from then, from 2005 onwards, you've released numerous albums, numerous EPs. I know you've stripped it right back on a couple of the EPs as well. The new album, you can order it. How has it been writing this? Because I know it was sort of based around two very significant events in your life. How is it?
The new album is called Invisible Empire Crescent Moon, and it's in two halves. I did it in two recording sessions last year out in Arizona in America, and one was in April and one was in November. And in the middle I lost my dad and my personal life went crazy, so a lot changed. So by the time I went back out to record the second half, I was in a really different place. But I have to say, it was the easiest album I've ever made. It was just very natural, and I've got a great situation with my record label at the moment where they really just leave me alone, leave me to it, let me get on with it. And so it was a very pure album as well. So in that respect, it remained very emotional and very honest, and it's quite mellow. So it's a bit of a shift in terms of the sound.
So, sorry to hear about your dad, and through that, the sadness of the loss and the album coming out, has it kind of changed the way that you viewed music, the way that you're writing now, and the way you will continue? I
kind of see life as all these pieces that have pressure edges on each other, and if you take one piece away, everything shifts. And so I guess it changed my views of everything in some ways, and everything settled in a different shape. And I think that music for me now, I kind of see it a little differently, whereas before I kind of defined myself very much by what I did. I don't really feel like that anymore. I think that, as you know, losing someone close to you can really shift your priorities. And so as much as I still feel very connected to music and love performing and love writing, it feels like something that I do now rather than something that I am. And that's actually given me quite a lot of creative freedom, because I think when you're incredibly caught up with what you do being who you are, it's very easy to kind of fall into the trap of worrying about approval and worrying about what people think. And this new perspective that I have, I really don't care. And it's very liberating. Yes. And I thought I didn't, and now I realise that I did. And so it's quite a new, fresh start in a way for me to kind of make music from a different standpoint, really.
And I think that's probably kind of filtered through to your fans as well. That kind of, I suppose, that liberation of the new album. I know it started receiving huge amounts of praise, and we've been sort of interviewing a lot of the festival goers, and the name that's been cropping up, in my opinion, the most is that everyone's kind of here to see you, which is really nice, because the roots of folk as well. And so you retaining those roots, but sort of moving on to kind of like a pop feel, a rock feel?
No, that's actually what I've moved away from. It's which is, I'm sure, why people at Cambridge Folk Festival probably appreciate what I've done recently, maybe more than the stuff before, where it's got a very definite Americana influence, because I made the record with a great musician called Hau Gelb. He's the front guy of a band called Giant Sand from Tucson. And a lot of those guys played on the record, and it was all to old reel-to-reel tape machines. It's all live takes, and it was really rewarding to play like that, and also to play with a different style in terms of playing with a group of guys who had their own thing going on. and Howe was very good at sounds and sticking some 1940s guitar in my hands right before I played, and so getting these really different feels going on, and that made a big difference. And I think, you know, folk for me is always just going to be storytelling. I know that there's obviously like a genre that you can recognize that sounds like folk, but I do think that folk is a kind of broader idea than that. I've always liked to think that it encompasses a lot of different stuff.
And I think as well you can kind of make your own subgenre of just KT Tunstall and just have your own, mix it up there and stick in your 1940s guitar if you want it.
As long as your roots were playing on a guitar and on your own, then you can get away with whatever you want, I think.
And you were saying as well that sort of you always had been a musician, and that was your first and foremost, and growing up in Fife as well, that was your first love. And that this new projects that you've been doing over the last couple of years, you've been kind of solidified as a singer. How's that? A nice change for you?
Yeah, it's really, well, this album is a big part of that for me, because I would never have called myself a singer, which is weird. I would always call myself a musician.
Right.
And I kind of thought that the perception of me was that I was this package where it was rhythm guitar, it was using a loop pedal, it was singing, it was songwriting, and I was sort of this, you know, up-tempo, frenetic ball of energy performing. And a few friends were super supportive the last couple of years, just really giving me a lot of confidence to lean on my voice a bit more. And that really changed, and a big influence on the record too was a great album by King Creosote and John Hopkins. It was nominated for a Mercury, called Diamond Mine. And I just thought that was a staggering album. It was really beautiful. It was very self-confident and assured, but beautifully crafted, and all about Kenny's vocal, King Creosote's vocal. And I mean, I think Kenny knew that he could sing like that, but a lot of I've been singing with him for 20 years, and I didn't know that he could sing like that. And it's just so beautiful. And I was lucky enough to do some backing vocals on the tour for that record. And I was just watching these rooms of people really absorbing an emotional piece of work, where it was very quiet, it was very low, down tempo. They didn't need this big show, you know, and that gave me a lot of faith in moving forward, making a record that was really all about singing.
And it was up for a Mercury. It
was, yeah. I mean, I didn't win, but I could have done. I think it was really, the songs on it are so beautiful.
I think even just the nomination itself, you know, puts it up there on a pedestal. It's incredible. So, having been involved with sort of outside projects now and moving in as a singer, has it been nice for you to maybe kind of reflect that and then do a few more stripped back performances, sort of more of acoustic?
Yeah, I think it'll kind of always go in phases of what you like doing, because, you know, you do something and then it's nice to change it up and have a difference. But certainly at the moment, I'm really excited by, as much as I love playing with the band, they're fantastic. I'm really enjoying solo performances. I find it quite interesting to push it a little bit more, to make it a bit more intimate and actually chat. I chat more when I'm on my own, and I think that particularly with this album, it's so much about lyrics and voice that it's really nice to have it completely sparse so that you can hear that stuff.
Yeah. And it's quite vulnerable as well. It's like stripped back KT Tunstall, so your fans can see a different side and move around and cross into those genres. So are we going to see some of your new album tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's great actually, because it's really nice making an album that you can just play with just a guitar. You don't need anything else. But working with the band's been really rewarding. One of the musicians is Brian Lopez, who's from Tucson, Arizona, and played on the record and sang, did all the backing vocals. And he's got such an amazing voice. And actually all the guys sing. So we've ended up with this fantastic kind of LA West Coast 70s backing vocal arrangements in the songs, and it's really changed the new stuff as well. So it's very exciting to see what happens when you start playing with other people.
Yeah, I know everyone's just so super excited for tonight, and it must be so nice to... Yeah, okay. a little bit excited, I think, me included. I think it just been so nice as well. You know, you've such solidified yourself as part of, you know, a musician, a singer, a songwriter. And it must be nice now to have that prerogative to be able to go out in Arizona and be left, like you said, your record label can leave you to do what you want to do, and just be able to kind of put your own stamp on every single thing you do, have complete control and move in. And I think that's really reflecting on what your fans have been saying as well.
It's been quite a major shift, and it was when I changed labels, because I was EMI and Universal bought EMI, and so I ended up with a new team, and there was a trust, and I think there was, thankfully, after 10 years of working hard, a handing over of the baton, if you like, of responsibility, and they did trust me to get on with it, to the point where all the artwork and the images from the album are me and my mate Jane Mingay, who is just a beautiful, wonderful photographer, and it was just the two of us. There was no hair, makeup, styling. Howie just lent us his 1965 Barracuda, this beautiful old car. And the two of us just put the camera in, I got the suit on, and we just drove into the desert like Thelma and Louise and did all the photographs. And then the videos too, I've just collaborated with directors where I've come up with ideas myself, and it just feels like a really deeply rewarding creative time where I think that one of the downsides of being on a major label, because for me it can work quite well because my music isn't particularly experimental, so with a major label they can really help. You know, I wouldn't have played in South America or in Japan if I wasn't on a bigger label, I don't think. But one of the downsides can be that there is quite a formulaic approach to how it's done, and I think that you kind of have to fight your way out of that a little bit. But yeah, I'm so happy with the situation now.
I bet you are. So the plans for touring as well. UK touring, I know you said you enjoy that. 5 Scotland, go back to your roots.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be solo touring after the summer in the autumn, but because it's a very special album for me in terms of the sound of it and the singing, I've worked with my booking agent, said, look, can you try and find some really special venues, maybe try and get people into venues that they wouldn't usually come to.
Yeah, of course.
So we're really looking for nice theatres, and it's all booked now, but theatres and art centres and things like that. But I've always wanted to play a West End theatre in London, and it's hard to do because there's always plays on. So I've got a Sunday night, I think it's November 1st, I'm playing Theatre Royal, which is the haunted one. So in London on Drury Lane. Yeah.
Amazing.
So that should be brilliant. But there's really interesting places that you might not have seen a gig at before.
Are you playing Inverness? Can I ask that?
I'm not playing Inverness. I'm really sorry.
That's just me being biased. It's fine.
There's a few to choose from up north. So, okay. But I think the UK tour starts around the 20th of September, and it's for a month. So.
Well, I have a great big living room that you can do it.
That's not when the tour is. It starts on somewhere around the 23rd of October through to mid-November.
Perfect. And that's UK.
America before that. Yeah.
That's UK touring, and then you'll go out. Oh, it's all go, go, go. Yeah, absolutely. I wish you all the success with the new album. Not that you need it. It's going global anyway. I will certainly be up in Scotland for your tour and probably down here as well. And good luck for tonight. You're on at 9 p.m?
I'm on at 9 p.m. Got a good set going.
Everyone's super excited, but not any pressure. KT Tunstall, thank you very much. Thank you.
Handle the pressure, it's fine.